Correct. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good evening. Okay. The reason why because actually tomorrow, yeah, we supposed need to come to IC because we do have some what we call audit. All the lectures have to come, so I worried that maybe they need us for that time, but I I do used to record this because I have to proceed with the syllabus. Okay, alright. So the previous slide that we stopped is about until here, purchasing an existing business, and right now I will continue back on the how to establishing a purchase price. Okay, so we have three major techniques. Okay, use the first one is the market-based valuations. Second one, asset-based valuation, and the third one we have earning-based cash flow valuation. According to this text, it's been said the most appropriate method is a very subjective, because it based on the specific trends, whereby um, it directly to say that it depend on how the business is going on and how actually the business is suit to the market demand during that time. So I believe that this is according to the specific trends, and as I mentioned before, during this pandemic COVID-19 is quite challenging to do all the business, especially to all those particular matter. So I hope that whatever the business that you are going to pursue, make sure that we have put into this indicator to make decision. Alright, so the first one, market-based valuation. What is market-based valuation? It means that the going market rate method. The going market rate method means meaning to say the method that been used during that current or the particular year or months or that time. Okay, so the current market price for the particular type of firm equals to, as you can see, selling price. Okay, equals to selling price of the similar firm's revenue multiplier methods. So this is quite like formula, okay, but it's been stated here the current market price. So meaning to say the price that been offered during that time, just in time. Can I say that during that time, and they do have this selling price equals to selling price of similar firms revenue multiplier method. So it's said in here, common industry multiple is used to calculate purchase price selling price equals to turnover standard industry multiple. Um, Whatever the type of industry, maybe you involved in food and beverages industry, so you start to make the comparison with the other competitors. So that is, how differ you are from your competitors, whether you giving offer at lower price or maybe you might be above price from your competitors. Okay, alright, so we're moving on to the asset based valuation. So this is according to book value. So this the mostly basically you can learn in finance class, financial management if I'm not mistaken, or financial accounting. Alright, includes all the assets and liabilities as recorded selling price equals to tangible assets and intangible asset minus with liabilities. When we're talking about this book value, if I'm not mistaken, this is the formula mostly obvious that we can found in how you want to calculate on balance sheets. Because from that you can know how much actually the asset that you can keep into your business. Okay, and then adjusted book net asset value. Book value is adjusted to reflect current true value of all asset and liabilities. Price may reflect firm's goodwill. So, of course, when we when we calculated on those the assets and then also the liabilities, then we know how much as the true value. True value meaning how much they really have at your own business during that particular time. Alright. If we're not going for the calculation, then we can't even see, so if like this, mostly I prefer if they can give like a case study, then maybe we can calculate on that, but for this subject we not go deeper on that, but maybe the assignment will go for that. All right. So for the liquidation value, what's mean liquidate, meaning to say how fast that the business is liquidity. Liquidity meaning to say liquid. How fast the business respond to the market trend. Okay. Value of the business if it was to be broken up and sold as individual asset rather than continuing to operate it as a going concern may represent the vendor bottom price. So vendor will give you at a very bottom price in order to make sure that how much you can actually offering at the lower price to your customer too. Okay. And then for the replacement value, business value equals to cost of replacing all the firm's tangible asset as the current market rates. As the current market rates may represent the buyer maximum price. So in here, it looking into what to say, the highest that you can offer to your customer. So we have to actually replace all the tangible asset that have in the current market. Alright, so we're moving on to the next one, which is earning base, which is cash flow valuation, ROI that I always mention before. ROI meaning to say return on investment. When you invest, expecting that the investment will go towards you. So also called as capitalized value methods. And this is mostly very widely used. Assume the risk and return is reflected in price. So the formula includes estimate future profit earnings notes. So we say in here ROI must be converted to decimal. Okay. Decimal meaning to say they have point, how much at the back, and net annual profit selling price means to say return on investment is equal to net annual profit selling price. Okay. So whether we want to buy a business, okay, or this one is another decision. Question to us. Uh, what is crossed into your mind when you ask yourself to buy the business? So number one, the buyer should conduct a due diligence study. A due diligence study meaning to say you have to do the market research whether this is the right decision that you have to make in order to buy the another company. And the question should relate to the reason for sale. Okay. Meaning to say you have to ask to the particular company who want to sell the business towards you, why you want to sell your business. Okay. In terms of the existing stuff, is it they will when I buy this company, they will continuing the employment of the staff, the current staff, or we have to actually lay off the staff. And of course there will be accrued leave in terms of the current liabilities, including taxation debts. So meaning to say not only just bad debts, or in other way around, there must be a certain tax that we impose to the company that the company cannot afford to pay. So that is the current liabilities. And the transferability of licenses and permits. So you have to go back to the municipal or maybe registrar in order to apply back on continuing the business. So this is regards to the permit and licenses. And then in terms of the transferability of intellectual property and intangible asset, we afraid if we are not doing this very proper management or agreement, in otherwise it will be backfires to us back. Meaning to say they claiming that we are actually stealing their intellectual property. So that's why when you want to buy the business, make sure the intellectual property and also the intangible asset have to be clear from the original owner. And then in terms of the lease, the stock and asset, of course, this is the thing that we also will be take over because they sell it 100%. They sell it all to us. So this is the thing that we have to take into consideration. Alright. So the other issue that we have to consider is in term consider the inclusion of restraint of trade clause in the final contract of sale. So meaning to say when they agreed to sell their business to us, so we have to make sure that the restraint of trade, okay, we need to say they are really final, okay, they do not have any rights in order to take it back. This is will be happen if we are not precisely and also meticulously how to say that doing our agreement, okay, and consideration of ancillary costs which may include legal fees, okay, not legal fees and legal fees, this is typo here, accountant fees, valuation costs, government tax and bank fees. So when we are doing the agreement, this is the thing that we have to include into. Alright, so the another choice and option is will be like franchising or franchise system. According to this franchise system is arrangement where the owner of the business product or operating system permits business another business to sell this good and or to use the business operation system. So of course this is something like in the simple words is like franchisor is giving the rights to the franchisee in order to use the intellectual property. In return, they have to pay royalty to the franchisor. Who pay? Franchisee. Okay. So who is franchisor? Business or individual who owns the right to the system of the products. Okay. Of course, the owner and then the franchisee, the business or individual who operates the system. So if I, the one who are running the business franchise, but you are the one the owner, so I will so called as franchisee. You are the franchisor because you are the owner of the franchising license, and I use all the product. Okay, the intellectual property belong to you. Okay, all right. Now we're moving to the nature of franchising. Okay, a licensing arrangement, they are small firms receive permission to sell the product or service from the established parent organization but remain legally independent of that parent. So um, it's so called in same with like licensing business, but what I'm trying to tell you all is uh franchising agreement, we have the right as the franchisee in order to operate the business with the permission of franchisor. Okay, but of course we're relying more on to the our parent company which is franchisor, and typically has lower failure rates than the new startups compared to like sole proprietorship. This franchising is more, I can say, stable because in terms of the strengthen and also their strong brand name. And then number three, they're goods for the small business owner seeking security in order to take 100% high risk taker. For example, right? You still want to proceed for the business, but you want a minimal risk. So it can be suggested that to use this franchising. And the last one is less suitable for the entrepreneurial types. So for those who are sticking to the new venture or like sole proprietorship, right? You want to look into new challenges or you want to set up your own creations and also your innovation. So franchising is not the right one for you because franchising mostly we are become follower. We only just a franchisee, we just running the business with the permission of franchisor. Alright, so the types of the franchise, we do have product franchise, which is licensed to the sell particular good or service. So franchisee is a distribution mechanism, have more room to decide how their firms operate. So this is in terms of the products, okay. Like business system franchise, franchisors supply the product and detailed guideline about how the business is run. So business processes and operation have already been pre-tested by the franchisor. So I might say like product franchise. How to say that? Okay. Okay. In Malaysia, we do have like Coke, right? Coca-Cola. Okay. Um, which is original Coca-Cola or the drinks is belong to Coke in US. But we don't take 100% the Coke from US, right? We have the company in Malaysia, Insya we call as Pemanis company, which is they have the right and like this franchise in order to bottling and packaging this product in Malaysia. So Coca-Cola in Malaysia, if you can see, they have the words halal logo because this bin bottling, that one is product franchise. Compared to business system franchise, it's like McDonald, whereby you can see from the drive-through, the layout of the company, the franchise restaurant, you can see the menu 100% following the franchisor. Okay, all right. So we move to the advantage of the franchising. Of course, when we want to pursue certain of the strategy, we want to look into what is the advantage, right? So the first one, the new business owner does not have to develop their own operating, staffing, marketing system because everything being provided by the franchisor because everything formatted. I call this one is a biji sejebon. For those local students maybe know what means this. This is photocopy or photostat formatted business, 100% same with the franchisor. So the second one, they have less time wasted learning by mistake because everything have been proven by the franchisor because franchisor has shown the successful of this strategy business. Okay, and then the third one, product or service is already well established in terms of the brand name itself. If like McDonald, KFC, Taco Bell, do you know Taco Bell is had already been had been opened in Malaysia? Okay, and then also franchisor provide continuing training and support. So by time to time, franchisor keep on monitoring whether the franchisee is doing the right job. So they also provide continuing training and support. And the lower cost of the raw material and supplies because everything being provided by the franchisor. So it's like win-win situation, but actually even win-win situation is give more to the franchisor and the raising capital can also be easier because why? Mostly they give some support, but of course to start up you must at least have. I don't know how much the exact figure, but if involve like maybe like thousand, it can be or maybe million. It can be or I believe like 1,000, but how much is it? I don't have the exact figure in order to start this in franchising business. Alright, for disadvantages of the franchising, of course they are more expensive than startup venture, of course, because you actually running and operating others people business, but for the sake of how you want to running it. Okay, and then the second one, it purchase price is often quite high. I believe it's above 100 million, but I do not know how much the exact figure. But in order to start, it's not a very reasonable and cheaper price compared to new startup venture or sole proprietorship. And the third one, franchise have to pay a proportion of their profit to the franchisor, which is the so-called as royalty. So franchisee have to pay royalty, and in terms of distribution of the income, it's like 60-40, 70-30, 80-20, 90-10. There is no such thing 50%, 50%. It will be go more to the franchisor. And then franchisee are restricted to the geographical area. So in terms of if you are covered in Selangor area, or maybe you are only in Ampang, or maybe you are only in Klang, or maybe you are only in Kuala Lumpur, or you only just covered that particular area. You cannot go wide. The another country, the another state or area might be have the another franchisee and must comply with the franchisor direction. So this is about rules and condition. When you want to use other people intellectual property rights and all those things, you have to obey with their rules. That's the problem somehow to us. If you are not obey to them, they have the right to actually withdraw us from this franchising agreement. And then limited durations of the franchise agreement. Solely what from my understanding and study, every single 5 years, okay, they have to renew their contract of the agreement. So let's say 2021, so 2021 to 2, 23, 24, 25. So by 2025, franchisee have to renew back their contract with the franchisor. The good thing when you had already have how to say that some of the fundamental on how to run the business, actually it gives rights to you all. Why? Because you know the basic how to do franchising business. Then after 5 years, you can withdraw and then you can set up your own franchising business. How you get me? So that is another way around the wisdom behind this franchising. Okay, and then the comparison of option. Okay, this actually the table show the summary of this topic. Okay, whether we start with startup, purchase or franchise, and they have the factors here: the market versus customer base, unknown, defined, and predetermined, advertising and pricing strategy, future growth possibilities, staffing flexibility. They make comparison. So I want you to understand it well for this table. I will not go further, okay, because it's just comparison of this strategy. Alright, so we're moving on to the procedural step when starting a new venture. The framework provides a structure for evaluating and acting upon an intended project designed to be conducted in the sequential lockstep manner. So the idea can be aborted before too many resources have been committed to the project. So this is they have sequence in terms of lockstep manner. Okay, so what is this? The process of going into business. Number one, the rules is we have to do market research. This is important because we have to make sure that the idea is viable. Okay, is really have potential. And the second one, check the statutory requirement. Can you meet all the regulatory requirement? You can obey with the rules of municipal or the place that you may be rental for it. And the last one, access resources. Can you obtain all the needed, for example, like facilities, like equipment, okay, and insurance. And number four, you will buy, start, or franchise. There is three options. You may choose one, okay, which will best help you succeed in business. So you have to compare with the previous slide here, okay. Maybe you can see if you where are you, okay, in this condition, whether you want to minimal your risk. Of course, every single of our business we want to minimal our risk, right? So you can choose from here, and then you can see perform financial projection. Is it viable? Okay, whether it's really giving some like convincing us enough, the financial statement, financial projection toward our business. So that's why you have to make the financial plan, in the business plan, and write the business plan. Put your ideas on paper. Why the reason the business need business plan? Because we want to see how can actually you project and how the way you plan for your business. If not, it's just totally like a dreaming. Alright, and then as a summary, okay, before deciding to go into business, entrepreneurs need to consider the personal goals, resources, availability, and also business opportunities. And there are three different ways in getting into business. Whether you want to start a new business, okay, whether you want to buy the existing business or you want to enter franchise. So you can actually compare back to the comparison table to see which one can give more advantage towards you. And the last one, finally, there are 6 steps involved in organizing the business launch project. Okay, so and then until here, I hope by next week maybe we can get some feedback. Okay, I keep asking, I feel like I'm forcing him, but I have to force him. But yeah, that's it. Okay. Thank you so much, Rujan. Have a nice day and have a nice weekend. Assalamualaikum and take care. Bye bye.